Ich bin in Russland absolut glücklich.
I'm completely happy here in Russia. I have also noticed that everything I did in the past is proving useful here.
Vergangenheit, womit ich mich befasst hatte, dass ich alles anwenden kann hier in Russland. In meiner Zeit als Priester und schon als Seminarist in Deutschland.
I remember as a seminarist and later as a priest in Germany, I was exceptionally hurt, in fact thought tragic, the arguments within the church between the conservatives and the progressives, between those who totally rejected the Pope and those who wholly recognized him.
Natürlich, ich war immer irgendwo fast verliebt in den Papst.
Personally, I obviously always loved him and wanted nothing else than to stand by his side and go down the same road as him. I had many more problems because of that. We wasted so much energy on endless disputes, just in case, so as not to offend anybody.
Here
in Russia, this problem has surprisingly ceased to be relevant. For me as a priest, this is truly a paradise. Life and death battles suddenly ceased, and I can quite simply get on with realizing what we were taught as children in religious instruction classes.
Für mich war es sonnenklar, dass ich Priester werden will.
For me, it was always obvious that I would one day become a priest. I really never had any doubts about my calling. When I was no more than 5 years old, I remember as if it were yesterday, I was sitting together with both my twin brother and younger brother in a meadow, watching my parents working, when suddenly and quite seriously, I asked whether any of my brothers wanted to become a priest. And I remember my amazement. My younger 2-year-old brother, unable to understand the question, turned his head in the negative.
Natürlich gab's die Zeit, die Pubertät und dann auf.
Of course, there were the teen years, when different interests came to the fore. I also looked around after girls and know all those feelings inside out.
Vom Anfang bis zum Ende. Und auch,
but at that time, together with a friend, we began taking part in the Eucharist with nuns that worked in our school.
Die in der Küche gearbeitet haben. Und wir haben dann
we also managed to get one more classmate to join us at Mass, as well as my twin brother. And so it came to pass that out of all the school classes at the time, the 4 of us became priests. Alas, my brother died a few years ago in a mountain accident.
Also wir waren 4 Kinder. Ich war immer mit meiner Schwester.
We were 4 siblings. I always played with my sister. She also felt the need to offer her life to God. She entered the closed Dominican order, though she only lived in the convent for 6 years. She fell ill with cancer, fought the illness for 3 years and then died. I witnessed that heroic battle with cancer personally, how she offered her life, how she made it a gift, and how often she repeated that she was offering her suffering for me. That was a great retreat for me. I'm sure that it continues to help me and gives me strength.
Вы знаете, с моей точки зрения, люди делятся на тех, кто вечно...
You know what? From where I sit, there are 2 kinds of people. There are those who are continually dissatisfied with something, and then there are those that do something about it. Father Erich belongs to the latter category. He's always friendly, always smiling, and always busy. He does great things for this town. I think that in some areas he is the only person in town seriously and constructively doing something about them. The fact that at the beginning he started working with a group of drug-addicted teenagers, with people who drank alcohol in unlimited quantities, was very important work. He does it his own way. He does it with the human approach. I believe that if I were to compare Father Erich's work with that of bureaucrats, then the useful influence coefficient in this case would approach 100, whereas in the case of the bureaucrats, it would scarcely pass the 25% mark. His approach is deeply Christian. He doesn't treat the symptoms, but rather the causes, the real causes of the illness. He sees a person as a whole, and he tries to, so to speak, return the person to God. Through prayer and by strengthening the whole person, as well as by exploiting physical work as a means of building health. Also, by directing a person's attention by psychological means, away from the source of his or her addiction. Knowing our means, very limited financial means, administrative, also organizational and contact means, what he has achieved is quite simply a miracle. One cannot call it by any other name. He has built a big church. He has initiated dynamic charitable works and catechism. Today the parish is flourishing. No longer just old grannies who were there at the start. He knows how to find a common language with the faithful. He has an approach, and he also knows how to reach an understanding with representatives of the Russian Orthodox Church, which is also very important. All those who find themselves on the margins of society, for whom society does not want to see or know about and passes from afar, he sees these people. Moreover, he not only helps them materially by giving them money, lodgings or medicines, but also spiritually.
When I arrived here, there were 6, perhaps 12 babushkas. I knew no one else. On the other hand, many people quite simply began coming to Holy Mass, and that is how it all began. Today we have good relations with from 500 to 1,000 people in this town. But if we were to take everybody into account, all those who are somehow involved with us in this region, not only through the Holy Mass, but through the faith, then of course there are many more.